All right. So Kerry and I, and I'm wondering too, I'm thinking there's probably a way to share the screen. There we go. Are you next to me now?
Not on my screen, but that's okay.
Okay. So we'll give this a try. So anyway, hello, Kerry. Thank you for
Hello.
being here.
No problem. Happy to.
So Kerry is a nurse and lives in Boston. And if you want to share a little bit about you and also how we came to be and or where you are now and where you were when we met, that would be
Yeah,
lovely.
sure. So I am an emergency room nurse. I've been there working in one of the Boston hospitals for about 10 years. I have found myself being very burnt out of my job for quite some many years, but my flexible scheduling has really led me to a place where I feel a little bit stuck there, but a little bit fortunate that I have the flexibility to, have worked around my family's needs and my own needs. So in the last few years, I've spent time getting certifications in for health coaching, my master's degree in wellness and lifestyle management, and I've sort of had this vision and idea that I wanted to be a wellness coach. It started back several years ago. I just knew I wanted to do preventative health as opposed to being on the other side of of healthcare. I wanted to prevent them from getting to the emergency room in the first place. So this has been sort of in my brain for a very long time. And then finally I graduated with my master's last January. I got my health coach certificate in the spring, and then my certified wellness practitioner also. And then I felt like I had everything that I needed. I just didn't have a business or any direction to go in. So I went to the wellness conference where I met Barbara. It was in a fateful way.
Yeah.
We just kept running into each other. And finally at the end of it, I said, we had a session where I had the opportunity to be coached by her. And it was a really positive session for me. So at the end of the conference, I had asked her if she would mind helping me out and giving me some coaching sessions. And we set up a deal then. And we are just finishing up our 6 coaching sessions now. So when I started, I had nothing in terms of a business or really a plan. And now I have set up my own LLC with insurance, and I have, what else have I done?
Website, Facebook.
Yeah, I've set up Facebook. Yeah, I've set up a bank account. I've set up everything really.
Yeah.
In addition to that, I've managed to submit a grant for a wellness proposal at work. And I have meetings actually with people set up over the next couple of weeks to talk about potentially, bringing my business into their places.
It's too bad you're not ambitious. I'm just thinking about the master's and then the coaching certification, then getting a business, and plus you have a family and you have another family, and I mean you're working full time and you're working nights and ER, which isn't the calmest environment.
No, it's not calm.
Yeah,
but you always hear me say I just need to bring it down a little bit.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I truly, with all of that, am very impressed with you putting it all together, because you did have a lot of pieces. I mean, you and your husband getting the WordPress, you already had that rocking and rolling. You had your name for your URL. You were toying with what insurance to go with your liability. We worked some things out with that. So there was a whole lot of different things that you had parts and pieces of, just hadn't come together. And then also the confidence piece and maybe some strategy, as well as the way to do this as smartly as possible with such a full schedule, and knowing that you had to keep moving forward. There was no rest for the weary, because your goal is so that you don't have to work full time in this very stressful environment.
Absolutely.
And yet, and two, one of the other things that I remember was a big aha for you is remember when you were toying with who was going to be your client, your ideal client, your avatar, and you knew who you thought you wanted. Of course, all of us, we want to be everything to everyone. Right. And then once we got past that, you're just so perfect for all of these other nurses.
Yeah.
And yet that was a little bit of a
That was
struggle.
hard. That was really hard for me to wrap my head around. Yeah, that was I think one of the things you helped me with the most. There were a few, but one of the things that was, I think, the biggest change and surprise to me was this, as you said, I had this vision that anybody who wanted some help, then I was going to help them. Anybody who wants it. And the idea of narrowing down your niche was really kind of scary to me. And then, you had said, what, these nurses that you're talking about and they're burnt out, is there something there? And I was like, no, nothing there. Nope.
Don't want to go there. I
No.
want to get out of that profession.
No, there's nothing for them. And I think I left that session and was able to just sort of sit on that and let it mull around in my head. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, wait a minute, I get these guys. I get them. They need it. So that's the other thing that I've really, one of the proposals that I put together for work was creating a nursing resiliency program at my hospital. And so that's the next meeting that I have, that they're willing to take me in and at least listen to me. So,
Yeah,
so that was probably one of my biggest moments, I think, in our coaching. I think the accountability piece was very important for me, because even if I didn't do everything I said I was going to do, by the time we had our meeting, it was done because I said I was going to do it. And for me, that's how I work anyways. If I said I was going to do it, I'll do it.
Would you have done it if you didn't have somebody to be accountable to, though? Because you are pretty disciplined.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No.
Well, I think too, when you're having to do it on your own and there's other things in your life, it is easy just to say, I'll get to that later. So the accountability piece is really is great. And also, I just have to quick catch this, because you said the what was it called? The nursing
resiliency.
So that could even be, I'm just looking way down the road, that maybe that's something that you end up doing because nurses are not going to go away. And I believe it's only going to become more stressful. So, and more people that need health. And so that could be something to think about 5-10 years that, you're overseeing programs.
That's actually in my vision, is to have a program that I can actually carry to hospitals.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that would be wonderful.
Which would be really smart.
Yeah. So.
Good. Excellent. Yeah. So good. So you had that. Was there any other shift in your mindset or in your business plan or your?
I think the other big thing for me was that I needed to get paid at some point. I think that was my biggest struggle, is just realizing that linking, you talked about, and I guess I hadn't thought about it in these terms before, but when you're just keep giving it away for free, you're saying that it's not, what you're giving is not worth anything. And thinking of it in those terms really sort of helped me put it in perspective. And also just that at some point, if I would like to make my own living, that it's okay to charge for it.
Yes. Yes.
That's an appropriate thing to do. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. That's a big hurdle, I think, for a lot of people, especially when you've had a paid job with benefits, and then you're moving into this whole new world of solopreneurship.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world, and you really do have to get it in you that you are paying yourself and you are worth it, and it's important, or you're never going to be able to make that leap. And then also, such as this long-term strategy of being able to put this program into hospitals so that it can give you the longevity that you need, so you don't get burned out just doing hour per dollar for session.
Right.
That was something that we had to work out, was, okay, now that you're not going to charge for the practical, logical reason, as well as the emotional value of what you're bringing.
Right.
Then coming up with the price point too. I mean, we worked on that.
Yeah, that was very difficult also for me to sort of come around to an appropriate price.
Yeah, you had a few versions.
I did have a few versions.
But you got to one that you feel comfortable with now.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So that was helpful. Mm-hmm.
That was wonderful. Yeah. And I think just being, because I had been toying with this for so long for myself and having everything was sort of in my own head. I didn't spend a lot of time discussing it or talking about it. So I think just the ability to open myself up to somebody who has a lot of experience, and to listen, to actually take my guard down and listen to what you have to say, and, your ideas, and, your experiences were, once I was kind of able to let my own walls down, I found your experience very valuable for me to help shape what I was doing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think that's also the difference between me stepping in and being your coach,
Mm-hmm.
mentor, consultant, telling you
Right.
what I've experienced, and also even scripting,
Yeah.
actually telling you what to say, or kind of a script to follow when you're in negotiations, or you're pitching this to the hospital or your boss, even when you had to talk to, or the person that was doing the grant.
Yeah.
Just even being able to have the dialogue, because we don't really have the models of what to say and how to conduct business. Again, that's not really been your background.
No, it's completely foreign to me. And actually that's another good point, is I think you also navigated those different roles really seamlessly, because there were times that it would definitely ebb and flow through, right now I need a coach versus right now I need somebody to tell me if that's a stupid idea. No, not stupid. You would never say that, but you know what I mean? That's really not going to be the best road for you. And you really need to rethink that idea and then go back into a coach and back into somebody to give me the script, and you did a nice job recognizing when, sometimes you just needed to be told, like, this is your business and this is how you run a business, because you have no idea how to do it, versus this is a coaching opportunity.
And you don't have time to screw around. Yeah.
And I don't
want you to make a bunch of mistakes and
no, I've got 6 sessions. We gotta get
yeah. Or money too. I mean, it's all those resources as well. I mean, I want you to be successful, nudging you enough, recognizing that, you need some time to nurture the growth, and yet, let's not mess around.
And I thought you did a really nice job sort of going through that, because there were definitely times that I needed to just be told, like, you're perseverating on something that you don't need to perseverate on. For example, my insurance that got me completely stuck, and you're finally like, you do what you need to do, but you need to move beyond this. You can't get stuck here. Let's go. And I needed to hear that, because I did need to move beyond that to be able to get to the next thing. And for whatever reason, that was one of my stuck points.
And we all create whatever stuck point we need because of that deep insecurity or that deep fear, because it's new. It's like anything that we do new. There is that sense of fear. It's actually a protective measure so that we don't just, jump off cliffs and things.
Right.
So it serves a purpose, but then when we get too much of it, and then we think it's about the insurance, and it's really about the fear. And just like our last session where you said, I just have to do it. That's what's going to build my confidence. So I think even that, I've seen you grow tremendously in a very short period of time, 3-4 months, of just saying, I just have to do this. It's a little bit fearful, but I know the more I do it, the less fearful it will be.
Right.
Yeah. And the insurance too, this was a very business practical standpoint where I said, don't spend the money till you have a client.
Right.
That was another little tip.
Yes. Yeah.
That somebody gave me at one time. When
spending all of my money on all these things, and I have not a person to use them, but that's all right.
And then there was a time where you needed to get to the bank and get the insurance and, and step into that. So, but even if you buy yourself another month of not letting the money go to somebody else, is a really smart way to run your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I know. Only because I've gone to Staples and bought more reams of paper that I didn't need. I mean, that's just a small example, but yeah, I've learned.
Yeah, so. That's all after I put out the money for the things that were important, no more money on anything anyhow until I start to have somebody that pays me. And then after that, we can re-talk about, if there are things that I need to get or need to buy or need to have. Otherwise, it's me, a computer, a phone, and what I have already set up, and we're done.
Exactly.
I have everything I need.
Yeah. Very savvy. Yeah, you're becoming a very savvy businesswoman.
Yes, that's true.
Along with being a fabulous coach and a marketing expert. And
marketing is great.
Yeah. Is there anything else financially that you think, wow, I'm really glad that we did this. If I didn't do this, where would I be? Anything reflective of that?
I think the biggest thing for me was the pricing, like how to price out the packages, and where my price point should be at this point in time, and the importance of, charging for
Mhm.
to show my value and to show my worth. I think for me, those were my biggest takeaways in terms of financials. Yeah,
Good.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think you have a good game plan on where you can take it from here, that this is just a platform to jump off from,
Mhm.
and you'll be able to climb higher.
I hope so.
Absolutely. As
Yeah,
well as some other strategies too.
yeah, I think so.
Well, good.
Awesome.
Has all of this impacted your personal life, professional life, your internal?
I think it's made my life a little chaotic right now, just because I'm trying to start a business while still doing all of the other things in my life. So I've added something onto it.
Yes.
But I think that if you talk to me in 6 months to a year, that I hope that I will be able to say that it has definitely positively impacted me, because I can reduce my hours at work. I don't even necessarily need to leave my job. I just would really like to reduce hours there. And I think that all of this preparation will really prepare me well and put me in a good position to do that.
Well,
So
I
I
will
think it's
definitely
all been worth it.
checking in with you throughout the months to come. Absolutely. And I think it's going to be less than a year.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
hopefully.
Well, it has been really a pleasure to work with you.
Oh,
You've
thank you
come
so much.
so far.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been delightful for me to watch you grow and put it all together and be out there helping lots of people
Yeah.
be healthy and well.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate all of your guidance and your patience and and your coaching.
Absolutely.
It's been really helpful, and I wouldn't have gotten to this point without your help. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, thank you for trusting me. Yeah.
Yeah. No problem.
All right. I'm going to turn off the recording. Thanks, Kerry. Talk to you in
Thank
a little bit.
you. Bye bye.